Pleased to have Penn State coach James Franklin with us now. And Coach, got a chance to watch you guys go through practice. As you conduct this preseason, what are the biggest questions you're looking to get answered?
Well, I think just like at Big Ten Media Days with you guys, talked about defensive tackle. We graduated 3 seniors there. I've been pleased. Sean Spencer's done a great job, since he's been with me. Brent Pry's done a great job, obviously, as well. But those guys are playing, really well right now. So we've been pleased with those. Some guys that we had some question marks are stepping up for us. Linebacker was another concern. I think at all these positions, we're talented, but we're inexperienced. And I think the linebackers are really starting to come on. And then kicker was a big question mark. And, we really came into a situation where we have 4 new guys on campus, and, those guys are kicking at a really high level right now. So I think some of the questions have been answered. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a difference between doing it out here and doing it in Beaver Stadium. But, I've felt pretty good about it so far.
What will be some of the biggest differences from last year's team?
Well, obviously, I was watching the NFL game the other day, and Saquon's first touch, 39 yards. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different this year from a production standpoint. Everybody was so focused on Saquon Barkley that we're going to have to spread the love around a little bit. But I think we have the ability to do that. I think the bowl game was a great example of that. 9 different guys touched the ball, in the first half. So, yeah, I think that's how we're going to have to be.
How about managing expectations from guys that are on the team that just feel like, okay, we had the success last year, we've lost some guys, but hey, we can get this done again. It's not that big a deal. But how do they work through that?
Yeah, I think there's some chips on their shoulder. I think a lot of guys have chips on their shoulder. Guys, I think Miles Sanders is a really good example. A guy that obviously was very highly recruited, came here. I think in his mind it was going to play out differently. He was behind a pretty good player, but I think there's tremendous value in that. I think I mentioned to you guys before. I was in Green Bay. I was with the Green Bay Packers the year we drafted Aaron Rodgers, and he was able to sit behind Brett Favre. There's value in that. So I think there's a lot of guys like that are talented guys that have been waiting for their opportunity and their time to come to step up, and I think they're hungry.
What do you want to see at tomorrow's scrimmage?
Yeah, it's amazing just going into the stadium sometimes for these young guys. It's, their eyes are wide. Their eyes are really wide and don't know what to expect. And, seeing them kind of play under the lights a little bit. We're also going to do some night games as well because you don't want to do that for the first time. But, get some live work. We don't do a whole lot of it, but when we do, it's one thing between thud, it's one thing tag off, it's another thing bringing Miles Sanders to the ground, Juwan Johnson to the ground. So being able to see guys tackle in open field and how physical they're going to be.
How's the leadership been developing on this team?
That's been really strong. Obviously, as many games as Trace McSorley's played and won for us, feel really good about that. Nick Scott, this is him and Trace, second-year captains for both of them. Nick was a special teams captain, now he's defensively. And then Blake Gillikin is really holding it down for special teams for us, and he's such a great example. Pre-med major. He's never had a A- in his life, and I don't mean C's, I mean A's. He's had all A's. And we think he's got a chance to be the best punter in the country right now. So we feel good about that, and then we'll vote on one more captain for offense, defense, and special teams when we get out of camp.
Coach, big picture question, but you brought this up in Chicago. I thought it was really interesting in relation to your team, this notion of the next step for Penn State is being a consistent top 5 program. What are the big picture steps you think you need to take to get there?
Yeah, I guess what I've been saying is I don't believe it's really ever one thing. It's not just scheme, it's not just development, it's not just recruiting. Those top programs like that, they're strong and they're doing it in every area. And that's why they're able to sustain it. There's programs that you see that spike and have a good run for a year or two, but typically the top 5 programs are in the top 5 fairly consistently. So they're doing it everywhere, and I'm driving everyone probably somewhat crazy around here. The administration, our alumni, the lettermen, our supporters, our staff, because my concern is I don't want us to take a deep breath and feel like we're back. We've had a couple good years. We're back, because we're not. We still got a lot of work to do. We've done some really nice things, but we got a lot of work to do to get where we want to be.
All right, Penn State head coach James Franklin, always a pleasure. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.